I'm here in my garden, and for Plant Week and Garden Week, I would like to read you this story called We Are the Gardeners. And this story is one of my favorites. It's a new book. Came out last year. It's by Joanna Gaines and her kids, and they love to garden. The illustrations are by Juliana Swaney. We are the gardeners. It says, "To our dad, you have taught us that we can do hard things and to never give up, even when we fail." Boys and girls, you can do hard things, and you're proving that right now. I'm super proud of you. Don't give up. We Are the Gardeners. That's a pretty official title, but we didn't start out this way. Just like our garden, we started out very small. We grew from there. Some say that a garden just grows from seeds, but we think it grows from trying and failing again and again. A garden is hard work, but so is most of the good, important stuff in life. Our family's garden story begins with one small potted fern. Dad stumbled upon it at the hardware store. When he ran in for some supplies, he said, "It's just too cute to leave behind." And he thought, "Let's take it to Mom. It'll make her smile." And it did. There's the fern, boys and girls. We chose a sunny windowsill for that pretty little fern. It seemed like a good, safe spot for him to grow. This was back when we were little kids, but we still remember visiting the plant each day to give it a drink, and sometimes we'd even whisper to him. And then, plot twist. Out of nowhere, our fern died. Death by overhydration. That's just a fancy way of saying we gave him too much water. Looking back, each one of us must have watered him every single day. That's a lot of drinks for a little plant. By mistake, oops, we overloved that plant. We loved it to death. Some people tell themselves they are no good at something after one small failure. But you know what? There's no chance we were going to give up that easily. So we checked out some books from the library, and we found out that ferns can actually be really tricky plants to grow and keep alive. They actually don't prefer to sit in a window. They prefer a shady spot. And apparently, the leaves can communicate what they're needing to us. We also learned that most plants have good manners, and they like to sip, not gulp, water. Lesson learned. Dad got us a fresh fern, and with it came fresh hope. This time we set the pot on our piano way on the other side of the room, where the sun wouldn't give him so much light. We also made a watering schedule so that we wouldn't overwater it. We would take turns. We also took turns saying lots of nice things to the fern. And fern number 2 lived and thrived and grew, and finally Mom got him a little potted friend. Do you see up on their piano? They're adding more plants, and they're calling each other friends. And then she got another, and then one more, and 2 more. We noticed that talking to the other plants actually helped them grow bigger and stronger. So we added some songs and jokes into the mix. Unlike when we overwatered the first plant and it died, you can't over-talk to your plants. In fact, they love over-talking. Dad said it was time to graduate from indoor gardening to outdoor gardening. Mom was so excited about the new outdoor garden as we were. She started talking about it with a dreamy look in her eyes. That's when Dad called a family meeting so we could come up with a real plan for our garden. We all gathered around the kitchen table and got to work dreaming, planting, planning, and drawing things out. We knew we needed a sunny spot, a place where the plants could sunbathe for at least 6 hours a day. We'd be red as radishes if we did that, but plants, they love it. And more than that, they need it. In the garden, there is no life without light, sunlight. Dad always says the foundation is the most important thing when it comes to building a house. A house can't be strong if it's built on something weak, and the same holds true for a garden. So, to make the foundation of our garden strong, we filled it with really good soil. Good soil includes a bunch of tiny living things called organisms, and they grow things in it. That's pretty amazing when you stop and think about it. A whole hidden world of life underneath the ground, right beneath our feet. Just because you can't see the good things with your eyes doesn't mean they're not there. And another cool thing about this really good soil is it feeds and strengthens the seeds you plant. And then, like a miracle, plants and flowers, fruits and vegetables and trees, they burst right out of the ground. We also knew we needed our garden to get plenty of water. Rain is the very best thing for plants to drink, but it's hard to know if it's going to rain enough for your garden. So a couple other options to keep plants hydrated or watered is to collect rainwater and use a sprinkler system or a garden hose to get the job done. Once we had our location, our good soil, and our plan for watering and hydrating our plants, we got right to work. First thing first, seeds. The most fun part of planting our garden was deciding what we would plant. We started with foods that we like to eat, like strawberries, tomatoes. Then we chose some pretty flowers to keep them company. The thing about seeds is that they're everyday miracles. Everything a plant will grow up to be is already inside that tiny little seed. It's magic. We chose flowers like zinnias, sunflowers, and cosmos so that pollinators, bees, would visit our garden. Butterflies, hummingbirds, and bees spread the pollen from flower to flower. This encourages things to bloom and grow. We like knowing that these little helpers are out there in nature working for us and for our garden. The bees must have put the word out there because we had a pretty thing going. Sure enough, all sorts of critters started arriving. We quickly found out that there were 3 types of bugs in our backyard: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the worst part. It was a pretty sad day when the aphids arrived. They are some of the most well-known villains or evil bugs in the garden world. They suck the life right out of your plants. But then the ladybugs showed up to eat these pesky aphids for lunch. Ladybugs are for sure a part of our hero camp. They bravely protect our plants and the leaves from any harm. And we've got to tell you about earthworms too. They're like the secret agents in a garden. Earthworms eat all of the dead things in the ground and soil, like the old roots and the old leaves. They turn them back into life inside the soil. Every time we found one, we would high-five and celebrate. They aren't pretty to look at, but who cares? They're doing their job. They're awesome, and we love seeing them hard at work in our garden. We realized quickly that we needed to keep the weeds out too. They are the true bullies of the garden. Weeds try to steal the water and the sunlight and the nutrients from the soil. They try and steal them from our fruits and veggies and flowers, and it's our job to pull them and get those pesky guys out. If we ignore our garden for too long, the weeds will run wild and cover our beloved plants. It's so much easier to just do a little bit of weeding every day. We were officially gardeners and had a real-life garden to prove it. That garden became our pride and joy. Day in and day out, we tended to our plants, making sure they got plenty of sun and water. Every time a new plant sprouted from the ground, our excitement grew right along with it. As time passed, our garden grew bigger and bigger and stronger. And you know what? So did our family right along with it. When our garden was finally in full bloom and growing tall, we would run through the aisles and watch the butterflies flutter around us. But one day, as we were mid-skip, we noticed there were some trespassers in our garden. They were helping themselves to lunch. And by lunch, I mean they were eating halfway through our garden. Animals may look cute and innocent, but some have a sneaky side. They can wipe out a garden in no time flat. The chickens ate the vegetables, the goats ate Mom's roses, and the bunnies weren't picky at all. They ate anything in sight. Saying goodbye to the many happy plants was even harder than throwing away our very first little dead fern. We debated if we should just give up. Was it really worth all the work to start over again? And then we remembered a very important detail. We are the gardeners. It is our responsibility not only to grow this garden, but also to protect it, to keep it safe, to help it thrive. So we put up a little fence to keep the animals out, and we got right back to work rebuilding it. We didn't give up. We tried and tried again. It didn't take long to get our plants and flowers growing tall again. And to this day, our very favorite days are when we get to gather all the fruits of our labors. Mom loves to set the table with pretty flowers in every color you can imagine. We help her dream up recipes for the food that we ourselves have grown. Sometimes when we see all the beauty laid out before us, we can't believe that our hands helped bring all of this to life. And it makes all that hard work worth it. It's what keeps us coming back again and again, year after year, season after season. Because we are the gardeners. We still keep a little fern on our patio to remind us of the very small beginning of when we became gardeners. Every time we water it, we remind ourselves to never give up, even when things don't work out the first time. Because the thing is, whether one potted plant dies or half your garden is wiped out by little critters, every failure or mistake or setback teaches us something. Dad says that every hard thing we choose to do makes us braver and stronger for the next time we do hard things. So you see, there are a lot of life lessons waiting to be learned and a whole world of gardening ready to bloom. We are the gardeners, and so are you, boys and girls. So are you.